but those were psychologically or emotionally, those were far more stressful than any stuff.
Yeah. And how have those choices, right? When let's say you have to make some trade-offs, right? Either way, how
Yeah.
have those choices shaped you, right? Have they made you more stronger, more empathetic? Like what has been the impact of those choices on who you are as a person, as a leader?
So I think it emanates from how you grew up and what for who you, how you grew up and what the value systems was and what you experience around you. And I'm not talking about this as from the perspective of how rich or poor you are. Basically, it's really what kind of environment you saw around you. And again, we are a very strongly bonded, even today, supportive family, and that actually is becomes a very good anchor for everything, basically.
Yeah.
Uh, so even today, I think that was I'm lucky that I was part of that. I'm still part of that. So I think that actually is able to carry you through a lot.
Yeah. What would you say would be your most toughest leadership moment? Not because the business is tough, but because something with you and the leadership is tough, and something that it takes courage to share it publicly, let's say in a podcast like this.
We had to make choices. For example, during when COVID happened, a lot of people basically said, "Okay, are we going to stop salaries for people? Are we going to let some people?" That was easy decision in some ways, right? Could have been right. Let's get rid of some people. Let's not pay salaries to those kind of things, right? How and you realize that everybody was scared in that moment, no matter who, whether they were leader or
Yeah.
no, because this was a completely new thing for everybody. So
Mm.
what do you do in that moment? The balance of protecting thousands of people, basically, because you, as well as protecting the business. Because if the business doesn't survive, then
Yeah.
there are people to protect, right? So that balance, essentially, how do you navigate that without you knowing how this is going to turn out to be? At that time, when we were getting into it, in the middle of it, nobody had a clue about how it would turn out to be, right?
Yeah.
Making those choices was difficult for every person, actually. Everybody who went through it, basically. And fortunately, it turned out to be all okay at the end of it,
Mm.
right? But it could have been actually the other side as well, right?
Yeah.
You went through that phase of few months when of almost a year, when everybody went through that phase, was a tough navigation in terms of what decisions are you choosing to make, basically.
Yeah. What was the biggest fear for you as a leader? I think you were the CEO back then. What was the
Yeah. So
biggest?
basically, the was that if the fear was basically the business need to survive. Okay, business need to survive for people, for customers, right? So you should not end up doing something which impacts the business at its core, right? So because you're the steward, you basically are a leader, which is that's the first one, right? And as part of that, you basically one of the values basically we are the company was we care, right? You three values: we compete, we innovate, we care. So in that, we care part is basically reflect that we care about the people, we care about our customer, we care why. So I think so that you have to make sure you are staying close to that value without letting the business fail, basically.